Did you know the sandwich empire of Subway that sells about 5,000 subs per minute has faced a drastic fall? It's highly concerning for the foodies. Subway restaurants have been dealing with growing pains, declining sales, and a public relations crisis involving its former spokesman, Fogle, in recent years. For the past few years, the sandwich chain has closed hundreds of stores across the world. But it hasn't always been this way. Subway was rapidly expanding in the 1980s and 1990s and early 2000s, eventually becoming the world's largest fast food chain. It's time to find out how a company that had been on the rise for decades suddenly went downhill. Did you know that Subway offers more than 30 million options to choose from for your sub? It's no doubt that Subway has grown to become one of the biggest names in the fast food industry and has the most locations of any of its competitors, with nearly 42,000 outlets worldwide compared to McDonald's 39,000. However, after more than half a century of success, Subway is beginning to see a decline in popularity as more consumers choose to cook at home or visit a competitor's restaurant. Subway closed over 1,000 stores in the United States alone in 2019. In the 1960s, a 17-year-old named Fred DeLuca came up with the concept of healthy fast food. It was also a way for him to pay for medical school. So he persuaded his friend, nuclear physicist Peter Buck, to lend him $1,000 to get the idea off the ground. DeLuca founded Peter's Super Submarines with the money and the support of his mother. The name was later changed to Peter's Subways and then to Subway. He used to sell the sandwiches at less than $1. DeLuca's vision has always been rapid growth. So after establishing the first location, he worked hard to expand nearby locations. By 1974, the first Subway franchise had opened outside of the state. Subway had a lot going for it. For starters, it was the only fast food chain that served items other than burgers and fries. Furthermore, DeLuca believed that visibility was critical, so the majority of the locations were in popular neighborhoods and city centers. That philosophy contributed to the company's international success. With the company making it so simple to open a restaurant, the number of locations skyrocketed and the brand became globally recognized. In the 1990s, the number of Subway restaurants worldwide increased from 5,000 to over 13,000 in just 10 years, a 260% increase. Subway continued to market itself under the Eat Fresh slogan, and as obesity rates rose in the United States and the United Kingdom, people began to see the sandwich company as a place to get really healthy food rather than the usual junk food of McDonald's or KFC. Subway ran advertisements for about 10 years showing a spokesman who had lost weight by eating their food, and an image of him holding up his old big jeans stuck in people's minds. Then came the recession, which wreaked havoc on many businesses around the world. Instead of eating healthy, people began looking for cheap places to eat where they could get a good deal. As a result, Subway changed its advertising campaign and beginning in March 2008, introduced a new promotion, the $5 Footlong. By August of the following year, Subway had earned a massive $3.8 billion in sales, while competitors like McDonald's struggled to survive the recession. As the economy gradually recovered in the years that followed, so did Subway's competitors. Many new sandwich shops entered the market, offering food that was as fresh, if not fresher, than Subway's. Subway began to lose motivation after previously adapting well to market changes. Their business model remained largely unchanged, and they continued to sell the same products. While its competitors were changing their menus and introducing new items almost monthly to attract customers, Subway remained consistent and stuck to selling its tried and tested selection. Furthermore, chains like McDonald's began to capitalize on the increased demand for healthy food, and the 2010s saw them launch salad ranges, fruit bags, and other healthier alternatives. Subway gradually lost their unique selling point, and with little to no change occurring within the company, saw their popularity decline. Subway began to feel the consequences of not changing its business model around 2015. By continuing to keep their stores cheap to open, the chain began to see stores spring up around the corner from one another. Because there were so many stores in such a small area, each one made the same amount of money as before. Consider Manhattan. It's difficult to walk anywhere in the city without passing at least 3 Subway restaurants. If you look at a map and draw a mile radius circle, there will almost certainly be at least 5 Subways inside. Subway was forced to close stores all over the world due to decreased profits. They closed 359 stores in the United States alone in 2016, marking the first time the company closed more stores than it opened. This trend continued, with over 800 and 1,000 stores closing in 2017 and 18, respectively. Well, the market is becoming increasingly competitive, and eating out at fast food restaurants is as popular as it's always been. Is it too late for the late sandwich king, with rivals like McDonald's thriving during the COVID-19 pandemic and also coming up with innovative new menu items? It's difficult to recover from the kind of slump that Subway is currently experiencing. Pret a Manger, a leading British sandwich and coffee chain, recently faced a similar situation and announced the closure of over 100 of their own stores. However, it appears that the demand for Subway is no longer there. The consumer has a lot of options for on-the-go food, and with cheaper, tastier alternatives available, Subway will need to innovate significantly in order to recover. Subway's U.S. system-wide sales were $12.3 billion in 2013, its best year in the previous 15 years. According to Technomics analysis, sales will fall to $9.4 billion in 2021. According to Subway's website, the number of locations has decreased for the fifth year in a row to 20,746. Subway did not provide sales figures for 2022. Franchisees have long been vocal about changing the chain's staid menu and store appearances. Last year, some Subway franchise operators publicly complained about the company's treatment of them. When Subway's corporate offices decided to reinstate the $5 footlong, 400 franchisees were outraged. The belief that the promotion would harm rather than help sales was the source of their rage. As a result, after word of the dissatisfaction of Subway franchise owners spread, the company's sales fell even further. It's also difficult to attract new investors when current business owners reveal corporations are taking advantage of them. As the Subway brand becomes as stale as bread after 30 days, so does its advertising. The Eat Fresh slogan, which was once a boon for Subway, has become a bit of an albatross as people learn what is really in their food. Subway, for example, was slow to jump on the all-natural bandwagon that competitors like Panera Bread promote. However, because its menu has remained essentially unchanged and has only recently been upgraded to include a breakfast menu, customers looking to truly eat fresh are looking elsewhere. The COVID pandemic sent shockwaves through the U.S. economy, with the already failing Subway franchise among the hardest hit. Because of this, Subway's corporate arm decided to waive the 8% royalty fee for its franchisees. Unfortunately, the break only lasted a few weeks, resulting in a backlash against CEO John Chidsey. Then, many Subway franchise owners were forced to turn to the government for rent relief, but some chose to abandon ship and close their stores instead. Not just this, but Subway has been accused of mistreating its employees, further tarnishing the franchise's image. Employees, for example, were reported to be underpaid as well as overworked. Furthermore, Subway failed to pay for overtime in accordance with federal law, which requires time and a half. However, American consumers are less likely to patronize restaurants where they believe employees are being mismanaged or mistreated, which may account for Subway's declining sales. From poor management to numerous scandals, the Subway brand is unfortunately on its way down. Is this a sign that Subway as a restaurant chain is on its way out? Not exactly. Many restaurants experience declines in popularity, and Subway retains some brand recognition and currency in the marketplace. Now, there is no doubt that Subway used to be the undisputed king of freshness and low prices, but it appears that they've lost the only things that set them apart. Having multiple small stores does not prevent you from bankruptcy. That said, what do you think about this downfall? What's the biggest mistake they've made for you? Comment down below and keep watching for more insightful content.